Let's bring in right now Sari Bashi, Program Director of Human Rights Watch, for more on this. Sari, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We spoke to you about a week ago. As Matt just reported, 20 of about 200 trucks crossed that border carrying much-needed supplies, mostly medicine. But Americans in Gaza tell ABC News they were told by the State Department to go directly to the border, only to find it closed by the time they got there, and no one was actually allowed out. As a potential ground invasion looms, and as you've heard this morning, Israel continues to strike, how much more dire could the conditions get in Gaza?
Certainly, both Egypt and Israel have an obligation to open their borders to refugees of all nationalities, including Palestinians, to leave if that's what they choose to do in order to find safety. But my concern about the focus on the Egyptian border is that we're struggling to get 20 trucks in on the Egyptian border, while in the meantime, the Israeli military is keeping its crossings closed to aid trucks entering and also refuses to flick the switch back on for electricity and water. So in previous conflicts, in previous wars, as brutal as they were, the Israeli military opened its crossings periodically because they're much better suited to have trucks come in, and they've allowed humanitarian aid. And they have never cut water and electricity in the middle of an active live conflict. It's not clear to me why they can't simply turn on the switch and why the U.S. government doesn't require them to do that, given the President Biden's active involvement in this.
Earlier this week, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees said they desperately need body bags, among other things. Today's aid convoy also included body bags. And a Palestinian university student who's been documenting what's happening there and living in Gaza amid this conflict told ABC News they, quote, sent us coffins to die in silence. What do you make of that message?
I think that people in Gaza are really horrified by what's been going on for the past 2 weeks. Of the 4,000 plus people killed, more than 1,600 are children. The Israeli military is killing on average 100 children a day in Gaza. They're doing that because they are dropping explosive weapons in densely populated areas in ways that are predicted to cause massive civilian casualties, and that is what is happening. Gaza Strip is the size of the U.S. city of Philadelphia, with 2.2 million people, nearly half of whom are children. If you repeatedly drop explosive weapons in urban cities, residential areas, you will kill children. And that is what is happening. And we would like to see the United States put more boundaries over the conduct of the Israeli government to stop the collective punishment of civilians in Gaza by keeping the water and the electricity supplies turned off, and to allow humanitarian aid in through all the crossings, because people in Gaza need it desperately.
Sorry, just quickly, there are still more than 1 million displaced people trying to evacuate the north of Gaza, 500,000 sheltering in facilities all across the region, but no fuel was sent into Gaza in this convoy. So what other options do people have when they're trying to move around?
I mean, that's the problem with the evacuation order. The Israeli government issued warnings to 1 million people in northern Gaza and told them to leave, but there's no safe place to go to and no safe way to get there. Some of the people who fled were killed as they fled through the evacuation routes designated by the Israeli military, and others either cannot or will not leave. Gaza's main hospital, Shifa, is in the northern part in the so-called evacuation zone. ICU patients, people with disabilities, older people cannot leave. And my concern is not only that the humanitarian aid being let in is apparently intended only for folks in the south, but also that the Israeli military is going to treat people in the north as if they no longer have the protections that civilians have under the laws of war. And that raises many alarm bells. The fuel is also needed for the water system. There are generators that are needed to pump sewage, to pump water into people's homes. Bottled water to drink is critical, but so is water for basic sanitation. And fuel is the key to water. The Israeli government needs to let fuel in, certainly through Rafah, but also through its own crossings, so that people can start to try to clean up the sewage that's flooding the streets and that is exacerbating the risk to human beings in Gaza.
All right, Sari Bashi, thanks so much for being with us this morning and breaking all the aid needs down. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.